Hello, everybody. I can't even say hello, everybody, very well today. Wow, it's Monday, and it was a late night at the stadium last night. And if you are following me on this channel, you know that I posted at like 1 in the morning. So after late night games, just kind of hard to wind down sometimes. And so I was kind of amped up after they won, and some good news today. So we talked to Kyle Shanahan earlier today. I would have posted earlier, but I was having Wi-Fi ha issues at my house. So yeah, such is life. Real life stuff here. So Kyle Shanahan said today that Christian McCaffrey is potentially set to return after the bye when the 49ers play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Monday, a week from today, they will have a bonus practice. They have 5 days off. So they're having meetings today, meetings tomorrow. They're going to get a lift in, they're going to get a run in. Then they have 5 days off. They will all report back on Monday, except for guys that are rehabbing, like Christian McCaffrey. And Monday, they could open the practice window for Christian McCaffrey. Now, the plan is that Christian McCaffrey is going to work as if he had practice this week. So let me tell you, I'll read you what Kyle Shanahan said. So it depends on how the week goes. He's had no setbacks, so it looks like we're on track, but he's going to hit it hard this week while we're gone and kind of simulate some practice stuff for himself. And as long as all of that goes good, hopefully we'll have him in practice next week. So I asked him, I mean, how hard has it been to kind of rein in Christian McCaffrey? Because he is a preparation junkie. You've seen all the workout videos that he does. He works out really hard. And I think last year it helped him. And I think this year, the overwork during the offseason might have bit him in the ass, actually. Might have been a little backfired, might have backfired a little bit. So Kyle Shanahan said, since they put him on IR, it's been pretty good. He says, I think it was tough at first when we did it at training camp, and then it felt like he was going to be ready for week one. And then after we decided to put him on IR, it's been pretty easy. That's why we did decide to do that because we knew it was going to be at least a month, shut him down for a while, now build him up slowly, and things have been going well. So now it's going to be nice to get him back, hopefully. So good news for Christian McCaffrey coming back after the bye. They end with the Dallas Cowboys victory over the Dallas Cowboys at that halfway point on Sunday night. So they're 4-4 at 500, which is much better than being at 3-5. And with the injuries that they had from last night, it looks like they should be okay. Now, the other injuries that might be a little bit more serious are Chris Conley has a hamstring injury and he's week to week, which generally means he could be out for a couple weeks. The other injuries, JP Mason, he re-aggravated his shoulder injury. So they're going to reevaluate that after they come back from the week off. Same thing for Deebo Samuel. He has a rib injury and an oblique injury. So during the broadcast, I'm sure you saw them working on kind of his lower side, some sort of strain or rib injury. So that's what he's dealing with. Better news for Renardo Green, who had a really good game. He had an ankle injury. He's just day to day, so it's just a light sprain. And D. Winters is in the concussion protocol. Other good news is that Kyle Shanahan said that Juwan Jennings is set to return most likely for that Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. So they're getting some guys back. Now, with Dre Greenlaw, it'll probably be a little bit later, maybe a couple weeks out. Again, I've talked about this before. He was injured. He injured his Achilles, tore his Achilles in February. So it's just going to take some time. Usually guys don't come back for like, almost a year off an Achilles. So hopefully he makes it back and he could, maybe have the practice window open in a couple weeks after the bye. So every day after of the game, I do the PFF scores. And so there were some interesting little tidbits, and you should check out the entire story on NBC Sports Bay Area. But during the win, Brock Purdy had a pretty good game. He had a 70 grade, overall grade. He aired out the ball a lot more. So he threw more deep passes in the first half. Interestingly, so his average depth of target in the first half was 10.1 yards. In the second half, it was so much shorter. It was 3.8 yards. Completely different tale of two halves. A lot more yak, a lot of yards after catch for George Kittle, for Isaac Orendo, yards after contact, Ricky Pearsall, a lot of that. That was kind of back. So It's funny when he airs out the ball more when he's been playing against man coverage, airs out the ball more, less yards after catch. So now when they have zone defense that they're playing against, Kyle Shanahan's offense is really set to exploit how zone defense works. And so he usually gets a lot of yards after contact, yards after catch from his players. So um, the offensive line did a pretty good job. They used play action a lot this time, and Purdy was blitzed on 13 of his 34 dropbacks, and he completed 8 of his 12 attempts for 110 yards when being blitzed. 123.6 passer rating, if you're into that stuff. So interesting. He was very effective from in that sweet spot of his 10 to 19 yards down the field. He completed 4 out of his 5 attempts there and 85 yards. And I mean, really a pretty solid game. He also scrambled so much, and was really effective there. Let me see here. Where is that number? Brock Purdy has scrambled for more yards in his first 8 weeks than he did all of last season. Last season, I think he had 144 yards rushing. This year, he already has 210. It's a completely different Brock Purdy we're seeing, scrambling, kind of creating more time. I'm not sure what the correlation is, whether he's trying to make more time to help out the offensive line, where the offensive line is helping him. They're playing a little bit better. It's kind of a little bit of both. I asked our expert at PFF that kind of watches all the 49ers information, which is Jeff Deeney. He's fantastic. So he gives me kind of little hints to look at things. And that's what his prognosis is. Kind of Brock Purdy on the offensive line kind of working in, symbiotically. So he's getting more time by creating more time, but also they're protecting a little bit better. So I always feel the sense when everybody on social media is like, the offensive line is awful. And I haven't seen that as much this year. I know Dominic Cooney's been doing a pretty good job as a rookie in Kyle Shanahan's offense, which is really unheard of. So, good stuff there. All right. So moving on, George Kittle had, of course, one of the best games of his season so far, a 90.2 grade, the top on the offense, 6 catches for 128 yards. He also had 70 yards after catch. 70 of his 128 yards were after catch. Pretty impressive. Um, and 128 yards is the most he's had all season, except for our since that's the biggest total of a game for him. I can't even talk, sorry. Since 2023, and that was when they faced the Cincinnati Bengals in week 8. So really great game for George Kittle, yardage wise. Isaac Guerendo had a really good game. 62 of Isaac Guerendo's 85 rushing yards came after contact. Again, that's 62 yards of his 85 yards after contact. 4.43 yards after contact per carry. Pretty good. He did have that miss. He got a really bad grade for pass protection because he gave up a sack. Brock Purdy went down, and we all kind of saw that. That's the difference between Isaac Guerendo and Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. Christian McCaffrey is going to get those blitz pickups. He's going to chip. He's going to slow the guys down going towards Brock Purdy. Isaac Guerendo, rookie, it's going to happen. There are going to be mistakes. So on the offensive line, pretty good. Pretty good grades throughout. Trent Williams, no pressured, no pressures allowed. Aaron Banks allowed 2. Jake Brendel didn't allow any. Dominic Cooney allowed 1 hurry, and Colton McKivitz 2 hurries. So, all right, I mentioned Renardo Green had a really good game, and he did. Top grade on the defense. He allowed only 2 catches on 3 targets, 27 yards. One, unfortunately, was for a touchdown, but he also forced a fumble and had 2 stops. Second highest graded defensive guy, Jair Brown. And he only allowed 2 catches on 3 targets for 5 yards. Also, interception. So these young guys on the defense are playing really well. Now, Talanoa Hufanga potentially could come back, play with a cast. He had ligament damage, so he had a procedure on it to repair the ligaments. So he could come back. Now, I think the 49ers really miss Talanoa Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw for what they bring to the field. I mean, that hard hitting energy that, it's maintained, it's consistent throughout the entire game. I asked Renardo Green what happened in the third quarter where that 17-point lead started dwindling. He's like, it's been the same story. It's like, I don't know what happens. I don't know if it's because we get comfortable, But I know Fred Warner had to talk to everybody at halftime, and then he had to talk to everybody on the sidelines again when they started to lose that lead. So it'd be better if they didn't and they just kept that cushion of the lead, but it hasn't happened so far. So I don't know if this is a good sign. They'll get confidence and be able to get a lead, maintain a lead, hopefully maintain and keep stacking wins. They face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who not, I don't know what the verdict is, whether they're good, whether they're bad. They've had good games, they've had bad games, kind of like the 49ers. So it could be a good matchup. Um, Again, after the week. As far as quarterback pressures, Nick Bosa had the most with six. Malik Collins had five. Sam Okwanu had five. I think they found the magic key with Sam Okwanu, putting him on the inside. He had three pressures, one sack and two hits, lining up on the inside. So interesting how he's kind of developing. Nick Bosa said he loves him and how he's developing. Um, the 49ers got pressure on 15 of Dak Prescott's 41 dropbacks. That's 36%. And they only blitzed on five of his 41 dropbacks. So good production from the defensive line. All of that and more in this article on NBC Sports Bay Area. But just wanted to give you a little update. And I think it's big news that Christian McCaffrey could be making his way back after the bye because I think he really changes the offense. And everyone's like, oh, how can one person change the offense so much? But he is the reigning offensive player of the year. And I just remember when Christian McCaffrey first got to the 49ers, they lost the game to Kansas City, but then that LA Rams game, passing touchdown, receiving touchdown, and rushing touchdown, triple crown. So Christian McCaffrey coming back to the offense makes a huge difference, not only on what he can do, but on the blitz pickups and protecting Brock Purdy on those passing downs. So catching passes from Brock Purdy in the flat. He's a better route runner than Isaac Orendo and JP Mason. They do well, but I asked Kyle Shanahan about it and I said, what do you see? Do you see him more as becoming more of a receiving running back? And he said, I think he's very similar to JP. No one is Christian in terms of the passing game, but neither one of those guys can't run routes and they can't be linebackers. They both have good hands. It's something that he is decent at and now something he should get better at as he continues to work at it. It's just everything Christian McCaffrey does is so refined and really he's a perfectionist. So what he brings to the field is really unique and it is something that the 49ers offense is clearly missing. So that's it for today, which is Monday. There's no availability until next Monday. So as I hear things, I'll give you some updates. We're still doing the 49ers Now streaming show, but please, please, please subscribe. Don't forget to share with your friends. I did put the bump box entrance from the home stadium at Levi's on the grid here. So definitely check that out. I don't do that very often. I kind of snuck in there. You can see Deebo Samuel kind of dancing in the background before they get their names called and they run out of the tunnel. So kind of fun stuff. So check that out. And I will be back soon. I hope you guys are all well, enjoying the Victory Monday. And yeah, enjoy Monday Night Football. This is your little halftime treat.